I know we all look the same to you. That is Polish people. You don't want smart slaves. Those are the ones who have the uprisings. You want them like cows.
That's a good
You want
point.
them docile, which
You,
they are.
you've nailed it. I'm
They
once
want
again
COVID
in
back.
love with your idea.
They want the COVID you and I both know. I said this on Twitter. I'm not even kidding. And I had very little pushback, which I was shocked at. I said, there's a lot of people who want the COVID era back. They want to have all those restrictions. And no one was like, yeah, you're crazy. They're like, yes, it's true. You see it every day.
That's insane. Is that a
Do you
thing?
disagree? Do you disagree?
I haven't seen this.
I think there's a
thing?
lot of people in the cities who want to go back to that time where they didn't have to think, where they wore masks, where everyone knew their place, where they were hamsters in the cage. They were very happy then because they had an excuse for their neurosis and mental illness. It wasn't their fault. It's because the evil air.
I might be one of those people.
What do you mean?
I have a beautiful woman, okay?
Yeah.
And if you know anything about beautiful women, they always want to do shit, So during COVID, it's like we couldn't go nowhere. So I was like, this is great for me because I'm a homebody. So I might be one of those people. Sit your ass down, bitch. We ain't going nowhere. It's COVID.
You want to kill grandma, do you?
You don't want to kill grandma, bitch. Sit down somewhere,
So, okay. Now, can we go on to the hotel philosophy?
Now that I've scared 90% of your audience, let's continue.
Oh, no, you can't scare my audience.
Okay, good. Hotep philosophy?
Yes.
We're basically a supremacist group, If you're not Hotep, then it's like basically, screw you, right? We are building a utopia called Hotepistan. The rules and regulations and lifestyle are confidential, but we believe in something that is not quite American. We believe that Americans have too much freedom. So we want to curtail freedom. We want to find a nice balance between totalitarianism and democracy. And that's the utopia of Hotepistan. The Hotep philosophy it's unique. It's somewhere between atheistic, agnostic, and religious, but un-American at the same time. That makes sense.
Well, if I could translate to my audience that you have not succeeded in scaring, a big part of the Hotep ideology is this concept of self-reliance and having strong families and having strong communities that are not subject to the whims of other groups or peoples.
Correct.
And to have this idea of very much entrepreneurial, very much having men be leaders in their households and in the areas where they live, and seeing that a lot of the so-called civil rights movements of the last few decades have had many bad consequences. And I think you guys would say even by design.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolute failure.
Yeah.
Absolute failure. It makes me feel like it was a complete and utter fed up.
Yes.
I would love to, if I had a time machine, I would go back into time and I would curse out every single person involved in the civil rights movement. I would probably strap C4 to the Selma Bridge.
I remember that Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who was a longtime Irishman, he was a longtime senator from New York. I think it was 1973. He's like, guys, we are paying Black women not to have men in the house. Like, do you not see that this is going to be disastrous for this community? Everyone's like, yeah, whatever. And people don't care. It's just like, it feels good. It's going to get votes. And if other people have to suffer, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean, if you take a look at BLM, I always thought, I was like, is this what the civil rights movement felt like? That's what the BLM made me reflect on. Is this what it's bit different, right? Because BLM was about Mike and Ike's, right? It was about
right. It was. Yeah,
it wasn't about Black people.
During BLM, there was like Trident, and there's like a black lady on the label. I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with gum?
It was not about Black people, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then when we look at the civil rights movement, That wasn't about black people either. That was about white people, right? Because that's who benefited. White women benefited most from civil rights. Gay people benefited most from BLM and civil rights. So we didn't win in any of those situations, which is why it made me feel like, is this because, Thaddeus Russell goes into great detail about the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And he talks about how, some of the missionaries of the NAACP travel to the South and they try to convince them to be good Negroes and accept the notion that black folks should fight for integration. And the down South was like, man, hell no. We just want representation of our tax dollars. Unfortunately, NAACP said, fuck you. And they come back up north and they push for integration. And here we are with me talking to Michael Malice, a disgruntled black man.
I'm reading Langston Hughes' second autobiography right now.
Okay.
It's called I Wonder as I Wander. His first one's a masterpiece called The Big C. I have a signed copy. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
And he talks about in the 30s, he did a reading tour. And there were all these black colleges throughout the South where they were people who were like, all right, we're going to get educated. We're going to become assets to our community. We're excited about literature. We're excited about poetry. This speaks to us. There was magazines like The Crisis, and I forget the other one, which is even better. I'm blank at the time, which from Core, I believe. And none of that's a thing now. Like this was completely, historically black colleges are still around, but this sense of no one's coming to help us. So it's important for us to construct things that are like Adidas, by us, for us.
Yeah.
And now and this is why I want to dovetail with the last election, because I really was excited to hear your thoughts on what happened in November. It seems that for many African-American so-called leaders, their highest goal is to become like pets, where the success of the community is at the behest of like liberal white women. And as soon as they lose interest, you guys are fucked. That seems to me a very, very stupid approach to the future. And then you look at people like, I know Marcus Garvey was a big forerunner of the Hoteps and Malcolm X. It was like, no. We can't be relying on the whims of another population. The Harlem Renaissance, let's close with this, in the 1920s was called when the Negro was in vogue. And then Langston Hughes later changed to when Harlem was in vogue. The Great Depression hit in 1929. All these people couldn't find jobs. It's like, you were cute. You were kind of this thing of the moment, and now in the trash, just like that. And that's what happens when you don't have your own sense of community and self and are dependent on other people.
Yes. We have much to break down. Oh my gosh. Please. Oh my gosh. All right. The Negro leader. Okay. Negro leader is what I would call an educated dummy. Okay. Yeah. I would call people like me smart dummies. Okay. I'm a smart dummy. He's a educated dummy. Now, why are we both dummies? We're both dummies because there's no way we can understand or know everything that exists in the universe. Right. So at the end of the day, we're all dummies. But he's an educated dummy and I'm a smart dummy. The difference between an educated dummy and a smart dummy is the fact that he's been indoctrinated and I have not. Educated dummy is following core curriculum. I'm creating my own curriculum. An educated dummy is being taught what to think, and I'm teaching myself how to think.
Yep.
The educated dummy has a boss. The smart dummy is a boss. So as we traverse these problems of America, okay, Black community, et cetera, what happens is through these boule connections at the university, whether they be through fraternities, sororities, et cetera, this is basically a pipeline to mainstream success. CNN, NBC, MSNBC, right? And it basically boils down to two categories of Negro, the male and the female. But the male has to be a docile. Sorry, can I say that?
Wait, can I interject? Because
sure.
It is shocking to me that the black man who has been, since he's stepped foot in America, a symbol of strength, often portrayed in negative ways. In 2025, politically, the black men you're supposed to look up to as a Democrat are Barack Obama and Cory Booker. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not going to say anything else, but come on.
Correct. And that's what the white liberal wants. Right?
Yeah, right.
The white liberal fears uh, a fearless black man, an independent black man, right? Like you were talking about, we should be independent. That's what people should fight for. I think all people should fight for independence, right? So they are looking for docile, feminine Negroes. For example, we had Roland Martin recently. He posted a video with his Texas A&M shirt on. He's got on a Texas A&M dry fit Adidas hat, a Texas A&M dry fit Adidas shirt. He's got the shorts and he's got the shoes to match. And a white man comes up to him and says, did you play or are you a fan? And he says, no, I just graduated from there. And he walks away and he thinks this is some sort of passive aggressive, racism that he faced. Right. And I'm just saying to myself, what a pussy. Right. Like, first of all, you've got the back of a linebacker and you're wearing Adidas dry fit. Right. Like, if I saw you, I would think you were an athlete, right? Now, if you wanted to look like you were some sort of collegiate scholar, you'd get one of those, Zach Morris sweaters with Texas A&M on them, and they maybe wouldn't think that, you were an athlete. But if you leave the house in dry fit Texas A&M, you got the hat, the shirt, the shorts, and the shoes to match. First of all, you look like a dweeb, okay? So we should have made fun of you. He should have called to your face because you look like a dweeb. That's first of all. Second of all, if you've got on shorts is literally for athletics.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And you've got Adidas right in the middle. I don't know anybody else that wears Adidas as a fashion statement. Adidas is literally for athletics. And it's broad day right here on his chest. It says Adidas. And I'm thinking to myself, you think you dealt with passive aggressive racism? So now we know he got $300,000+ from the Democratic Party to push their bullshit campaign behind Kamala Harris. They didn't throw $300,000 behind the hoteps.
Do you know? Can I say something? You know what I think it could be also in his head?
What?
In his head, they're calling him, you must be a jock because you can't be a nerd. That means you're dumb. This is what he probably heard.
That's what he heard. Correct.
That's what he heard, which is completely insane in 2025.
That's
Lots
insane.
of athletes are very smart. No one has this distinction anymore.
Listen, I'd rather be an athlete than smart. How about that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot easier. Yeah.
Have you seen how much money these guys make?
Right.
Could you please confuse me with Michael Jordan, please? Like, what are we arguing about here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, here's the second thing. Why do you care? Like, that's not something a man does, right? A man doesn't go, oh, my feelings are hurt because you thought I wasn't smart. That's not what men do. Right. Like if somebody asked me, they were like, yo, you play football? Like, nah, I'm just rocking this shit because I'm in. And we're going to kick it and we're going to have drinks. We're going to smoke a cigar and it's just going to be that. I'm not going to be offended because he didn't think I wasn't an intellectual. I might not even want him to know I'm an intellectual because I might want to rob him. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like, let's put things in context here. We are men, right? Anyway. So we got that issue. We got, him representing us, $300,000 taken from the Democratic Party, taken from donors, et cetera, all for a failed campaign for Kamala Harris that they knew was going to fail, that they knew was DOA, that they first of all, they tried to make us believe she was black. Right. Everybody in the black community already said she wasn't black. We knew she wasn't for us. They call her Cop Mala in the black community, but the boulets at the university level will have you think that black people are accepting these people and they're not. And black people are rejecting.
Can I interject? Because this is, I want you to continue your where you're going on, because this is the question I had in my mind. Mm-hmm. When I heard this coming down the pipeline, and I coming from Brooklyn, I have enough experience with the black community. I'm like, black men aren't voting for this bitch. If I know black women like her, every black man knows several women like her, and they're going to be really feel humiliated that she's cutting the line instead of them. And they're like, they might not vote for Trump. These hardcore, people vote Democrat all their lives, but they're certainly going to sit in their hands and be like, are you fucking kidding me? No, this is insulting. And I was right.
You're right. Anybody with common sense would know that. Not too many people got common sense. There's only a few people that are intellectual like you and me and like maybe one other person in the world.
Roland Martin.
Roland Martin. Right?
The three of us. That's just
us three. So you got the docile male Negro, right? Borderline gay. Gay, they actually prefer gay, but that's another story for another day. You also have to talk like them. You've got to take the bass out of your voice. Right. And you've got to talk white if you're a black male. You know, it's like this newscaster voice type situation.
Yes.
That's what they prefer, right? They want you to be assimilated. Okay. Now, the black woman, the rules are a bit different. Okay. They want you to be the angry black woman. And that's why they got rid of Joanne Reed. Okay. She failed at being black. She failed to fill the role. They weren't quite sure how to wrangle the Negro at that time.